Just a little over a week ago here in March of 2025, LEGO released the Tyrannosaurus Rex fossil, which comes just a few months before the release of Jurassic World Rebirth. The set at first glance gives fans what they asked for since the release of the T-Rex skull back in January of 2024, the rest of the skeleton. This set retails for $250 here in the US and contains a very pleasant 3,145 pieces for this price point. As the largest Jurassic Park set ever released, this set has a lot to live up to, not only for the set, but also is potentially the start of a brand new subline of full-size dinosaur fossils that fans have been begging for. The second I saw the set, I knew I'd be picking it up on day one, but now it's time to just crack this thing open and see if LEGO is able to deliver the ultimate dino display. Let's get started. In total, the build took me 6 hours and 45 minutes, which is a little bit slower than my typical building pace, but I placed that blame on my decision to have Jurassic Park and Jurassic World on while I was building. The build is spread out over 3 instruction manuals, the first of which gives some background information about the T-Rex and model design. Going into this build, my biggest fear was that it was going to be extremely repetitive and grueling towards the end of the skeleton, specifically with the ribcage and spine protrusions, but it never got boring. The most blatant feeling of repetition to me outside of the small ribcage bone assemblies was the tail sections, but what's very nice about those parts of the build is that each one is smaller than the size of the last, so just as you start to feel repetition creeping in, the section wraps up and the feeling is gone. Overall, I enjoyed this build, but I would certainly give myself a bit of a break before I try to tackle any other fossil builds. This set leaves the minifigures to the very last bag, but in this review they come first, including Dr. Alan Grant and Dr. Ellie Sattler, both from the original Jurassic Park, and wearing outfits from their introductory sequence, which are exclusive to this set. Dr. Grant is rocking his dark red flannel and khakis, with the torso including arm printing. I like the rolled sleeve printing on the arms, but from afar it just looks like he has the sleeves down. The lack of a hat is disappointing, but with a display set such as this one, I do like the fact that I don't have to worry about a spare hairpiece or hat sitting off somewhere. The set gives him his favorite velociraptor claw to carry around, which is a nice touch. Dr. Sattler for the first time can be seen in her Canadian tuxedo outfit, which definitely goes out of its way to give the pants a different color tone for some contrast. I don't hate the choice, but for you accuracy purists, her outfit in the movie was much closer to just a single color. Once again, there's no hat included, but they do include a shovel for her to carry because, you know, digging up fossils. Both minifigures have 2 faces, their second one with their sunglasses on. Like I mentioned, these come at the very end of the build, which personally is fun to get at the end as a little bit of a celebration for completing the fossil. For a display set as grand as something like this, minifigures just aren't essential to me. I think they're a fun little extra collectible that can help enhance the full experience of the set. I know this is a very unpopular take, especially with you Star Wars fans, but with something like this, minifigures are not the reason I'm buying the set. I'm buying the set for the big display. There's a fossil digging base for the minifigures to sit on so they can be tied to the remainder of the set. Going in, I knew this was going to be a big set, but once completed, its size is truly impressive. A full 41.5 inches from tail to nose, this set is nearly as long as the UCS Venator, and surprisingly not much of a difference from the Titanic. It's built at a 1/12 scale, which is significantly larger than minifigure scale for those of you wondering. Considering the inner structure that the set is built around, I'm very pleasantly surprised by how little of that can be seen peeking through, and how this really just looks like a continuous display. The most blatant places where it's not so covered up are at the knees and ankles, but this feels like a very intentional choice for the bone structure. The varying colors of nougat, tan, and dark tan really help this model from feeling bland, and also work to provide contrast along the tail that makes those protrusions stand out. The head is my favorite part of the build, but is essentially just a remake of the retail skull set. Every section of the set is very sturdy, there's really no fragile points throughout or small details that pop off frequently. It truly is, brace yourselves for this one, rock solid. Of the different areas of articulation, the head movement is without a doubt the most impressive. The set makes use of a very strong Technic hinge to support the weight of the head and also allow for tilting up and down and a little bit of twisting. It would have been nice if LEGO had incorporated a swivel joint here. Hopefully someone comes up with a clever workaround soon. The head also features an articulating jaw, essential for adding some emotion to the set's display, and it's nice that it's also a completely customizable jaw instead of just one set angle. The tail has 4 different hinge points along its length, which allows you to incorporate a bit more of a dynamic appearance. This is also incredibly useful for decreasing the set's length in case you're squeezing this one in somewhere. The front arms are attached via some ball joints, which can be moved around if you so please. While these aren't really intended points of articulation, the various ribcage assemblies all rotate. If you have OCD, this will probably be a nightmare for you trying to perfect a pose, but it's quite easy to get them to all near straight and symmetrical appearance. Whenever you move this set or bump into it, it's very likely that some of them will shift. Not a big deal to me, but something to be aware of. The display base for this set has a great blend of minimalism with the 2 small columns sticking up, but also including rockwork detail and pedestals for the feet to rest on. I love bases that break free of the flat black look. If I wanted something like that, I would go to a third-party retailer. I appreciate the extra bits of environment in my set displays. The plaque is dedicated to Jurassic Park and includes some information about the Tyrannosaur and its tie-ins to the franchise. This sits on a base which is actually separated from the rest of the build and can easily be pulled off and tiled off with included tiles if you prefer your display to have this off to the side. The base includes some fun Easter eggs, including some amber pieces and a hidden fossilized head within one of the rock structures. There's also an Easter egg within the inner structure. Unfortunately, it's not accessible from the finished build, but there's a frog hidden deep inside, just like they were used to complete the missing DNA sequences. The 2 black columns are the gripping points when you go to move the set. Its sturdiness is exceptional, and despite their size, at no point do I feel like the set could topple over. When it comes to the accuracy of this build, this rendition of a T-Rex does very, very well in that department. The set designer, Benjamin Laborison, consulted with paleontologists throughout the set's development and conducted extensive research to ensure the model's authenticity. One notable omission is the gastralia, small belly ribs that supported the T-Rex's abdomen. These bones are often left out of museum skeleton displays due to their delicate and uncertain positioning. LEGO followed that convention here, but it would have been interesting to see how they could have been incorporated. One of the enticing aspects to the set is the fact that it comes for a price point of $250 US, despite including over 3,100 pieces. On a price per piece scale, that's 7.95 cents per piece, which is just absolutely incredible. A lot of them are small pieces, but this is not a ratio that you see very often. Combined with the set size, it seems like a great value. Other sets that are hovering around the same price point as this fossil include the UCS X-Wing, the Artemis Space Launch System, the Endurance, and the Ninjago City Workshops. Of all those sets, the Artemis Space Launch System feels like the only one that can rival the value that this set gives. Having to pick between those two, I lean more towards this dinosaur fossil. I mean, in the future, we're probably going to see plenty more space shuttles, but how many more times do you think we will ever get a chance to get something full scale such as this? I lean towards a pretty unlikely chance. Something that a lot of people, including myself, are wondering is if this set is the first of several full-size fossils to be released by LEGO. The box specifically noting dinosaur fossils, as in plural, certainly perks the ears and hints as more to come. Looking through LEGO's website, there are currently 3 sets, including this one, which are listed with the Dinosaur Fossils tagline. I think there's a blatant market for sets such as this one, and unless the next one is a Brachiosaurus or something, the scale and the size and the price of the set is very likely going to come down. In terms of a score, I'm going to give this set a 9.1 out of 10. Absolutely massive score. I think with some small tweaks, it could be even better. But if you're a dino fan, I don't really see how you could ask for much more than what this set has to offer. The size alone puts this set into a very exclusive tier, but the build quality and display value that comes alongside that size is what makes this set special. While the articulation limitations hold it back from being one of my all-time favorites, the size, detail, and display presence makes this an absolute must-have for dinosaur fans. This is something that I could envision being perfect for an office display or something that sits as a great piece of sleek home decor. So 9.1, that's your review. Thank you guys for watching. If you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel to be the first to see all future content. Also be sure to follow along on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, all the blog pages. Follow along everywhere, why not? Till next time, stay bricking.